The Goat House is back, ranking the top 32 NFL running backs for the 2025 season, rookies included, because obviously rookies will play this year. We already ranked the quarterbacks. Now it's time for the running backs. 32 up to 25. We got a rookie at 32 of the Patriots, TreVeyon Henderson. And of course, they have Rhamondre Stevenson. Stevenson might start. He might even get more carries. Couple things here, though. Bottom line is I think Henderson, even if he doesn't get as much carries, I think he'll be the Patriots' better back. The new staff has ties to Henderson. They drafted him. They don't have ties to Stevenson, so that could kind of make them use Henderson a bit more than people think. And I think Henderson just got to be on the field more, given he could be a massive factor in the passing game. So you don't want to use him only on passing downs. You don't want to get predictable. You want him out there because how much of a weapon he is. So he will split, though. I got him at 32. Two Jags on this list, 31 and 28. Tank Bigsby at 31. The Jags are by far the toughest team, for at least for me, to figure out what they're actually going to do. Who's going to start? How much of a split? Is Tootin going to be involved in that split? I think these two guys are much better than Tootin, especially day one. But we'll see. Bigsby looked awesome last year. If he's going to be the for sure starter, I'm going to rank him way higher on 31. I still think ETN has a lot of skill, maybe a little bit more skill than Bigsby. I think these guys will split most likely. They'll probably try to force Tootin into that. Otherwise, I'd rank these guys higher if I could trust they're going to get more carries. But tricky to figure out who's the lead back, how many carries they'll get per game, the snap share. We'll see. But Bigsby looked pretty good last year. Another rookie at 30, Quinshon Judkins of the Cleveland Browns. I think he'll have a very solid rookie season. I do think they'll mix in Dylan Sampson a bit. Both those guys are monsters around the goal line. So, mainly really both of them, but Sampson really stands out. So how are they going to divide that up? Judkins has definitely got to get his fair share, a good amount of snaps. I think he'll have a solid rookie season. Brian Robinson Jr. of the Commanders at 29. I think he's capable of being better than what he was last year. He was good last year, but pretty underwhelming at the same time. I think he'll be their lead back. They also have Austin Eckler, and a guy like Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, I think, could add some snaps as the season goes on. But again, I think Robinson Jr. is capable of being, much better than 29, but that's where he's at for now. We talked about Travis Etienne when talking about Bigsby, but I still think Etienne has the skill level, the capabilities of being a top 20, easily top 15 back, maybe. If I was super confident, like this is the lead back of the Jags, I would rank him way better than 28. I just don't have that confidence right now. There's going to be a lot of splitting. There's a lot of risk with me ranking him higher because what if they start Bigsby and what if Etienne and Tootin are then splitting as the two? I don't think that's the case. It's possible. And then, because Etienne was injured and underwhelming last year, so a little tricky. DeAndre Swift of the Bears at 27. I'm tempted to rank him even higher because he's the lead back right now in Ben Johnson's offense where he's going to get a lot out of the running backs, even though he's not Gibbs or Montgomery, but he'll be productive and effective. At the same time, the Bears could still add another running back, and at the same time, a lot of the guys I have ranked ahead of him, all the guys I have ranked ahead of him, I think just plain and simple are more talented backs, so it's tough to rank him higher than this. Najee Harris at 26, tough one to rank because they drafted Amari in Hampton, but Najee Harris is a consistent runner. I feel like he could be really good for the Chargers. Hampton, I think, could be even better than Najee Harris. So they're going to split maybe a little more Harris early in the year, but as the year goes on, maybe a little bit more Hampton for most of the year. But even with them splitting, they're both going to be damn good for the Chargers. If he was the lone, sure thing starter, Najee Harris, that is, he'd be ranked way higher than 26, but that's where he's at right now. The new Steelers running back, Caleb Johnson, pretty high for the rookie. I actually had him as my running back 3 going into the draft, and I like where he landed. The Steelers needed a running back 1. Everyone's always calling for more Jaylen Warren. They use Jaylen Warren, but they just don't love to use him like an RB1, really not even close. So they're going to continue with that. Caleb Johnson will be the RB1, and Arthur Smith's offense, a lot of running the football. He's underrated as a pass catcher. I think I'm another guy I'm tempted to rank higher in this. I think he's going to be super productive, especially for a rookie year one with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I have him at 25 for 2025. 24 up to 17, the Bengals running back Chase Brown at 24. He was getting better and better as the year went on, as he was kind of that lone back for the Cincinnati Bengals. He was fantastic. He's a weapon for sure. For those reasons, you want to rank him higher than 24. Couple things, though. They have Zach Moss coming back. I actually think they'll use the rookie Taj Brooks a bit because he is such a fantastic pass protector. In terms of running ability, I mean, Chase Brown, Zach Moss, they're going to blow him out of the water, especially day one. But because it's a pass-first team, they might use him a bit. Again, Zach Moss could be used a bit as well. I don't know if the Bengals staff loves Brown as an every down guy. He does have some costly fumbles. He's not the most physical runner, but he's very explosive. He's a good pass catcher as well. So interesting to see how the Bengals split that up. I got him at 24. I hope he can limit the fumbles a little bit more. Kenneth Walker at 23 of the Seahawks. In terms of pure skill, he's better than 23, but can he finish a season? Charbonnet started to take over last year. The new staff's going to run the ball, the new offense, I should say, under Clint Kubiak, going to run the ball a shit ton. That could help Walker. They also draft Damian Martinez. How they split up the carries? Kenneth Walker, I want to be a little more consistent. If you watch his highlights, only his highlights, he looks like a top 10 running back because he is a home run hitter. He has the ideal traits that you look for, but his running style is almost like he thinks every single run needs to be a home run. So that hurts him at times, and he just needs to stay healthy on top of that. So I put him at 23. He's a tricky one to rank. And then the Vikings got an interesting situation this year. I maybe went a little bold. I probably have Aaron Jones lower than where pretty much everybody would rank him, and I might be a little higher on Jordan Mason. Depends on what you think of him. But they're going to split. Aaron Jones might even get a little bit more snaps because his involvement in the passing game, and he was, you combine the running game and the passing game last year, he was super productive. But another year older, he has some durability concerns. You have to limit him. He does have some costly fumbles as well. And I think Jordan Mason, even if he has less snaps, I think he'll be the better running back for the Vikings this year. So I got Aaron Jones at 22, but it'd be pretty close. They're going to split. They'll both be effective. They might be trying to do a rival situation with the Lions, with Montgomery and Gibbs type situation here with Mason, the physical guy, Jones, the pass catcher. We'll see. Tony Pollard at 21. I do think Spears will be definitely in the mix there, but Pollard, when fully healthy and out there, he looked pretty damn safe. He was playing a little banged up at times. He looked pretty solid, and the offensive line was pretty rough. It should be a little bit better this year. I think this team wants to pass the ball a bit under Cam Ward, Brian Callahan offense, but Pollard's a solid back, maybe a little underrated. And yeah, there's the other Viking. I have Jordan Mason at 20. I actually think Jordan Mason is going to be the Vikings' best running back. I could be wrong on that. They're going to split. But a couple things. Yeah, Jones, he'll probably miss some time. He'll probably has to be limited a little bit because he has durability concerns. What the Vikings have been missing under Kevin O'Connell is that running back, that short yardage running back that could break tackles, that could fight for that in the short yard situations or on the goal line. They've really struggled in those situations. Jordan Mason's very, very solid at that, but he's a lot more than that. When he was playing for the Niners last year, he looked like one of the better backs. Not that he is one of the better backs football, but on a week-to-week basis, when he was the full go guy for the 49ers, he looked like one of the better, top 10 backs in football. So now he's on the Vikings. They improved their offensive line very much. I love the physicality of him, but if you watch him see and hit the hole, he does it so quickly. So I'm a fan of Jordan Mason, was last year. The Niners do get a lot out of running back sometimes, but they struggled on the offensive line last year. I think Jordan Mason's the real deal. Would be ranked higher, but splitting with Aaron Jones. Breece Hall at 19. We expected a lot more from Breece Hall last year, but he has the skill. He's a damn good pass catcher. I want him to make people miss a little bit more than he does. In the open field, he won't really break tackles or juke anyone. He kind of relies on the straight line speed. I saw that a lot last year. He needs to give me a little bit more. There's also, some, talk. Will Breece Hall stick around with the Jets? Will they trade him? I don't know if they trade him right now, but they're going to use a committee of backs, right? They're going to use Braylon Allen a bit. I wouldn't be surprised if Allen got as many carries as Breece Hall with his new staff. So I think Breece Hall has more skill than number 19 running back. It's just how much will he be used? And he was a little underwhelming last year. Chuba Hubbard was super productive last year. Rico Dowdle comes in. They also draft ETN. I guess there's going to be a reason for that. So maybe less carries for Hubbard, but man, he was a fantastic runner last year. You wish he was a little bit more involved in the passing game. So that kind of what holds him back a little bit. Got a rookie at 17, Amarian Hampton of the Chargers, first round pick. I think Hampton is going to be a star for the Chargers. Maybe he's not known as a star in year one, but I think he's going to be eventually going to be a top 5 NFL running back. maybe sometime soon. It's just so perfect for that Chargers offense. He's going to split with Najee Harris. I think Najee could actually start week 1 and get more carries early on. Maybe, maybe not. But eventually I think Hampton's the guy. They drafted him in the first round for a reason. He's going to be so good for the Chargers. Even as a rookie, I'd rank him much higher in this because I think he's so good. He's going to be so perfect for that offense, but he does have to split with Najee Harris. That's going to be a fun running back duo this year for LA. Top 16, I got David Montgomery at 16, even though he's the second best running back on the Lions. He's just that good. It would be the best running back for most teams. I mean, he even starts for the Lions. He gets sometimes more carries than Jahmyr Gibbs, even though Gibbs is the more talented guy. But Montgomery did get a little beat up last year, so the production was a little bit down, but he's a touchdown machine. I mean, he's still a super talented running back. Even feels like he's got a little bit more juice, maybe a little bit quicker than he was maybe in his Bears years, for an example. I do think he was a little bit better 2 years ago. Maybe the injury played a part of that, but still a damn good running back. I think people will rank him lower in this just because he's not even the best running back on the team. But I love that Lions running back duo. One of my favorite things in the entire game of football these days. Bucky Irving, the real deal, second-year running back of the Bucs at 15. Another guy I'm tempted to rank even higher because he looks legit. Like I say, he's the real deal. He's a guy, when at running backs, I always look for how well they see the hole and how quick they hit the hole. Bucky Irving is fantastic in that category. He wastes no time finding and hitting that hole, and he can make people miss after that as well. So he has the capabilities of being top 10 after this year, perhaps. I do wonder, they promote their passing game coordinator as their offensive coordinator, and they're loading up on all these receivers. Are they still, we're going to rely on the pass? Are they more of a passing team? So it makes you wonder a little bit. James Conner, the Cardinals at 14. James Conner, he's productive, right? But I think people look at the stats last year and they go, oh, just over 1,000 yards. He had some touchdowns, and it's productive. I'm not saying it's not, but I think people go, there's something special about that. But if you watch James Conner last year, his impact was so much bigger, in my opinion, than his stats. And his stats show they're pretty good numbers, right? I thought he was the Cardinals offense. I'm not really saying he was the only thing on the Cardinals offense. Of course, Kyler Murray and company, they all could play. But I thought it was James Conner that got things rolling. He was the reason they got things rolling. They won football games. I thought he was that good. So much more of an impact. I thought he stepped up as a pass catcher as well, but much more of an impact in the stats show, and the stats show pretty good. Alvin Kamara at 13, the Saints running back. It's funny when it comes to Kamara because the way people talk, it's not everybody, but the way people talk, I think is all wrong with Alvin Kamara. They talk like this guy's declining. He's nowhere near as good as he was. And I don't know if people say that because they're just used to that with aging running backs, not that he's that old, or because maybe he has less touchdowns than he did earlier in the earlier years. Remember how good the Saints were back then and how they're not so great. Now that could play a part of it. But he actually ran for his more yards than he ever has last year and ever in his career. So that's something. And he still had over 500 receiving yards, so still one of the better pass-catching backs and still a threat, obviously. So I don't know what really people are talking about when it comes to that. And again, the Saints team in general hasn't been as good as it used to be. The offensive line isn't as good. It got better it should be better this year. They have Kellen Moore. Look what Kellen Moore did with the Eagles. Not that Kamara's going to be Barkley, but I think Alvin Kamara, and they have other backs, but there's really no one else that's like a big-time threat to take massive amount of snaps away from Kamara. I don't know. So I think Kamara's going to still I think he's still got it. I think he's still fantastic. I think he could be even better this year in Kellen Moore's offense. So I think people are almost underrating Kamara out of nowhere. You want him to stay fully healthy. Yeah, maybe people knock him for not breaking 1,000 yards. It's really not the style running. Like, he's not a running back that you absolutely need him to get 1,000 rushing yards. Like, it's not really, and he got 950 or so and 560 or so, top of my head, receiving yards. I don't know. Devon Achane, number 12, got to stay healthy, but man, he's really impressed me. He's really impressed me as a runner. We know he's an absolute weapon as a pass catcher. You can line him up as a receiver. He can get, be as productive as a receiver as he is a running back, but he's impressed me as a runner, especially on, it's not a guy you want to give a full load to on inside runs, but in that category, he handles it better than I thought he would. Even on the goal line, they give him the ball and he just finds his way in the end zone. So this is an absolute weapon. Production machine, just needs to stay healthy, but he's still super young. He could get even better. I mean, I'm expecting him to get even better, but actually that could be damn scary. So a top 12 running back. Kyren Williams, we know we're going to get from Kyren Williams. He's super productive. He's a touchdown machine. He does have some durability concerns. Has some fumbles here and there, but home run guy, but also could fight for those short yardage. But he's just been super productive, super consistent in such an important spot. An important player for the LA Rams, so he comes in at 11. Joe Mixon at number 10 of the Texans. I've seen some other running back rankings, and he's way lower than this, so apparently people are underrating Joe Mixon. This is one of the better running backs, a top 10 running back in all of football. Remember, he missed some games last year and was still well over 1,000 yards, found the end zone. I think just plain and simple, when you combine everything what it takes to be a running back and production and the impact he makes for the Texans, I think this is definitely a top 10 running back. So I got Joe Mixon at 10. James Cook at number 9 took a big step up last year. He's not a guy that's going to get an insane amount of carries, inside the tackles. Of course, I think we'll even see a little bit more Ray Davis this year. He looked really solid as a rookie in the small sample size, but James Cook got better as a runner last year. I know what he has in him in terms of a pass catcher. I want more. I want the Bills to, it's the matter of using him more, right? But man, so productive run the football, such an impact run the football last year. Home run type guy, can bounce out runs as good as anyone in the league. I think he'll step up as a pass catcher. It's really not, again, it's not him. I know he's a really good pass catching back. I think it's the matter of the Bills using him more, but a touchdown machine last year. Again, bottom line is he took a massive step up last year and looked like a top 10 running back, and I think he'll continue on that direction. The top 8 running backs in the NFL for the upcoming 2025 season. So we rank rookies because rookies will be a factor this year. And Ashton Jeanty, one of the better running back prospects maybe of all time, to me will be a top 8 running back this year. I guess the only reason that doesn't happen, well, of course, with anybody, injuries. Not that I'm expecting that with Ashton Jeanty, knock on wood if you're with me. But I guess if because the Raiders defense on paper, outside of Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, doesn't look that great right now. It probably ends up playing way better than it looks on paper. But if they're just down in games and have to play keep up, maybe that limits how much they run. So that is something that could kind of keep Jeanty outside the top 8. But it's the real deal running back. They're going to be a run-first team, even though they have Geno Smith. He's going to be a massive factor, and he's a guy that everyone knows coming out of Boise State is a plug-and-play type guy. It's not going to take time for him to get used to the NFL, at least in my opinion. So I think right away, and we see a lot of young running backs up here. It's not really a surprise for a young running back to be, to be a legit NFL running back. So I think Ashton Jeanty will be that. Jonathan Taylor at number 7. He's consistently been in this range, obviously, and I think he'll continue to be there. As a top 7 NFL running back. Josh Jacobs at 6 was fantastic for the Packers last year. Kind of the same thing. He's going to continue to be super productive. Like Taylor, he's going to be a top 7 back for sure. So he could be a top 5 right around that range. A couple young guys. Bijan took that big step up last year. Super productive. An absolute weapon. Freaky explosiveness. And he's going to continue to grow. He actually has some room to grow too. I think he's a little inconsistent with maybe his vision a little bit. Not that it's bad, but it's almost a good thing. Like, he actually could get better. And if he improves on those things, he could be the best running back in the NFL. So it's a little scary to think about. So continue where he left off, just continuing to grow and be one of the top 5 NFL backs. So he's at number 5. Jahmyr Gibbs, one of my favorite backs in the league, probably my favorite back, to be honest. Was a big fan of his since Georgia Tech. And even Alabama. But yeah, he took another step up last year. It's the matter of getting him more carries, but just a do-it-all type back that's perfect for today's NFL. Really good route runner as well. Just an absolute weapon. Could be a mismatch guy. So I'm just ready for him to take even another step up, which is pretty damn crazy because he was fantastic last year. He is a game wrecker. It feels like this is a guy that in one play could just change the game completely. And I'm just thinking about the team they had a battle with last year. The Vikings came down the last game of the year. Gibbs destroyed the Vikings last year, and that he's capable of doing that to anyone and just helping them win football games and win the division and being one of the best teams in football. Top 3, yeah, it's tough with McCaffrey and Henry. It's tough not having Henry. Top 2, another one of my favorite running backs that I've maybe everybody's that they've watched over the last how many years, up there for one of the best running backs of all time. With the Ravens, it's not even fair. He's going to continue to do his thing. McCaffrey, you could definitely put Henry at 2 based on what he did last year. McCaffrey was injured last year, and maybe he won't be the same after the injury. Maybe he'll get injured again. In terms of a fantasy perspective, I probably would stay away because that if you draft him high and then he gets injured, it's going to kill you. But these necessarily aren't fantasy rankings. But McCaffrey still, he was like the consensus number 1 running back, like for sure thing. And Saquon Barkley's number 1. Like everybody has to have him at number 1 right now. But McCaffrey, if he's healthy, he is that good. And you got to factor in the pass catching ability as well. Like he is up there, the best of the best in that category, and one of the best runners as well. There's just so much to his game. I think he'll be. I don't think he'll lose a step from the injuries. I think he'll still be as talented. I think he'll be able to play his game, what he can do. Do what he can do. My only worry is getting injured again. I don't think he's going to be slowed down. I think worry about him getting injured again. But he's that skilled, or he's a top 2 running back as well. But we got 3 elite backs. We got Gibbs and Robinson. Jacobs, right there. And then Saquon Barkley has to be number 1. It has to be everybody's number 1. If you don't have him at 1, it's maybe a little questionable. Even though McCaffrey has the capabilities, Derrick Henry, they have the capabilities of being that guy. Barkley, with his skill level, with that team behind that offensive line, is the best running back in football, an elite player, one of the very best players in football. It was funny because I think it was like a week ago he was almost hinting at like he'll retire out of nowhere, retire early, and now this week he's saying he wants to go down as the best running back of all time. So he's just having some fun, it seems like, this offseason. So it makes you wonder, though, how long will Barkley be playing? But he's playing this year, and he gives the Eagles, of course, a chance to win, go a repeat, win the Super Bowl again. So you got to have Barkley at number 1. So there you have it with the running back rankings for this upcoming season. Tough to rank a lot of these guys because there are a lot of them in the middle portion of these rankings are so close. Like, how do you split them up? So damn close. And, trying to figure out who's getting, what snap percentage, how much of a split is it going to be? So a lot of rookies that should make an impact. It was a historic running back class. So we're going to do receivers coming up in the near future. We're going to do every position group, of course. Check out other videos. We have trade and free agent videos. You can check those out. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications. It's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.